What if I told you that one of the most influential fashion designers in history didn't start in glamorous ateliers or prestigious fashion schools, but in a small-town dress shop, washing dishes to survive? What if I told you that his rise to fame was not just about talent and ambition, but was laced with controversy, whispers of crime, and a tragic end so shocking that it left the fashion world in disbelief? This is the untold story of Gianni Versace, a man who defied the odds, rewrote the rules of luxury fashion, and left behind a legacy that is as mysterious as it is legendary. But behind the dazzling runway shows and supermodel fame, there was a darker side, one that few dare to talk about. Gianni Versace was born on December 2nd, 1946, in Reggio Calabria, a quiet and unassuming town in southern Italy. His mother was a dressmaker, and from an early age, Gianni found himself surrounded by fabrics, needles, and sketches. But let's make one thing clear. This wasn't the privileged upbringing of a designer destined for fame. No, his world was far from glamorous. In fact, his life was marked by struggle, long hours of work, and an undeniable hunger for something greater. To support himself, Gianni took up odd jobs, one of which included washing dishes. This wasn't just some temporary side gig, it was a harsh reality, a stark contrast to the opulence that would later define his name. But even then, while his hands scrubbed plates, his mind was sketching designs. Fashion wasn't just a passion, it was his escape, his way out. And he knew that if he wanted to make his mark, he had to leave the small town behind. Reggio Calabria was too small for the vision burning inside him. Leaving behind everything he knew, Gianni set his sights on a city where fashion was power, Milan. But what awaited him there was nothing like he had imagined. At just 26 years old, Gianni arrived in Milan with little more than his talent and an unshakable determination. Unlike many of his peers who had family connections or financial backing, Gianni was an outsider in the high-stakes world of Italian fashion. He started working as a freelance designer, creating pieces for brands like Gianni, Callahan, and Complice. But while others played it safe, Gianni did something unheard of. He broke the rules. His designs were fearless, clashing bold prints with luxurious fabrics. He wasn't interested in subtlety, he wanted to make a statement, and that was exactly what he did. The fashion elite took notice. By the late 1970s, Gianni had built a name for himself as a designer unafraid of excess. But admiration wasn't enough. He wanted to create something that had never been done before, his own empire. With no guarantees of success and everything on the line, he launched Versace. The world wasn't ready for what he was about to unleash. In 1978, the first Versace boutique opened in Milan, and from the moment the doors swung open, it was clear that this was no ordinary fashion house. Gianni's designs were electrifying: sharp cuts, gold embellishments, Medusa head logos, and fabrics that hugged the body like they were sculpted in marble. This wasn't just fashion, this was an attitude, a lifestyle. But Gianni didn't stop at clothing. He understood the power of branding like no other designer before him. He created an entire world: perfumes, accessories, home decor, everything dripped in opulence. He wasn't selling clothes, he was selling a fantasy. And the world was buying. But as his empire grew, so did the whispers. Behind the extravagant shows and luxurious parties, there were murmurs of something darker lurking beneath the surface. And as the 1990s approached, Gianni would take his biggest risk yet, one that would change the face of fashion forever. In the early 90s, the fashion industry was about to witness a seismic shift, and at the center of it all was Gianni Versace. Unlike other designers who viewed models as interchangeable mannequins, Gianni saw something different. He saw celebrities. And he didn't just put them on the runway, he made them icons. Naomi Campbell, Cindy Crawford, Linda Evangelista, Claudia Schiffer, the biggest names of the decade weren't just models, they were supermodels. And when they walked down the runway together in 1991, arm in arm to George Michael's Freedom. 90s. It wasn't just a fashion show. It was a cultural moment, a declaration that fashion wasn't just about clothes. It was about power, personality, and spectacle. Versace had reached its peak. But with success came scrutiny. And soon, the whispers that had followed Gianni for years would turn into something far more dangerous. Despite his success, Gianni Versace's personal life was anything but smooth. He was one of the first openly gay designers in an industry that, despite its flamboyance, was still riddled with prejudice. His long-term relationship with Antonio D'Amico was scrutinized by the press, and rumors swirled about the people he associated with. There were allegations, some absurd, some terrifying. Whispers of ties to organized crime, mysterious business dealings, and connections that seemed too dangerous for the glamorous world of fashion. Nothing was ever proven, but the rumors never truly faded. And as the years passed, those close to him noticed a change. Gianni was becoming more reclusive, more anxious. Was it the pressure of fame, or was something else haunting him? Then, in 1997, the world would get its answer in the most brutal way imaginable. On the morning of July 15, 1997, Gianni Versace stepped out of his Miami Beach mansion to get his usual coffee and newspaper. Minutes later, he was lying on the steps of his home, murdered in cold blood. The fashion world was left in disbelief. The man who had dressed royalty, Hollywood stars, and the most powerful people in the world was gone. But why? His killer, Andrew Cunanan, was already a wanted man, having left a trail of victims across the country. But why did he target Gianni Versace? Was it a random act of violence? Or was there something more sinister behind it? Theories range from obsession to conspiracy. But the truth remains shrouded in mystery. What is certain, however, is that Gianni Versace's death was not the end of his empire. His sister, Donatella Versace, stepped in to take over, ensuring that his vision lived on. And today, Versace remains one of the most iconic brands in the world, a name that symbolizes both beauty and tragedy. Gianni Versace wasn't just a designer, he was a visionary who transformed the way the world saw fashion. He built an empire from nothing, changed the modeling industry forever, and created a legacy that continues to influence designers today. But his story is not just one of success, it's a story of ambition, mystery, and an ending so shocking that it still raises questions decades later. One thing is for certain, Versace was never just about clothing. It was about power, art, and defiance. And maybe, just maybe, that's why Gianni Versace's name will never be forgotten. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe.